You had something you wanted to ask him, right?
So, in your latest video, which is the one that I did research with, knowing you were coming on, I was watching the first few minutes, and something that was so interesting to me was you were outside and you were about to go in the house, and you got chased by a beast. What was it? You got chased by a groundhog, which is a groundhog. That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
You told me about, before we started recording, you told me about other things that had chased you.
Yeah.
Tell me about it again.
So I guess I'll start with the older one. So it was 2-3 years ago. I was doing a house. We called it the Log Mansion. You may remember it. And it was late at night. And who was I with? I think I was with Mo Sargi. And we started hearing in like the distance coyotes like barking, and they started getting closer and closer. And they just started barking, and there was like a whole pack of them, and they started chasing us. I've never ran so fast in my life.
I would be
That's
so
crazy.
scared.
Like it was like, it was crazy. I have it on video. I look back at it time to time, and I'm like, I'm so happy we got out of that, because that would have been bad.
I don't think I don't think I saw your video on it. I think I saw Mo's video on it. But yeah, it's when it comes to coyotes, most of the time coyotes are harmless. If you get one or two or whatever, it's not much of a problem. You just shine a very bright light, and they run away. They're usually pretty afraid of people. They're not as brave, except for when they're in a pack and they surround you. It's a stupid bug in here, but if they surround you, then you might be in some trouble. So just try and blind them and start yelling back, and I guess be as big as possible, sort of like when you're dealing with a bear, which I think a bear would probably be a little more traumatizing.
That's one thing. That's another reason why I personally think I would never want to do these kinds of things, because I'd be afraid of all the animals, like especially, and maybe this is irrational, but I just thinking if I were to ever come across a snake or snakes or something, I have an irrational fear of that. No, I would never do that.
I've been there, done that. Ran into a couple rattlesnakes. Where was that? That was New Mexico. So we were doing Randonautica. We ended up at a silo. It was an abandoned missile silo. It was ICBM missiles for the U.S. in close to Roswell. And we get there. We're like, oh, this is pretty cool. And so the first one that I noticed, because there was a whole bunch of them. So the first one that I noticed, I was like, so I walked up, and basically it was like the gigantic gates were completely open, and you can look down. It was like probably 13 levels. Like it was deep. So I'm like, obviously, going around filming. I'm like, oh wow, this is so cool. I could literally see the innards of an abandoned missile silo. Amazing. Wow. Obviously there was no missile anymore, but you could just see straight down. There's like this big fence all the way around it. So I did one sweep around, went all the way around, and as I'm coming back, I had stopped recording. Then all of a sudden, I see the tail of a rattlesnake.
Oh no.
Yeah. And then I'm like, okay, that's not good. And then I just start screaming like a little bitch and start running towards my friend Yasko. And he's like, what's going on? What's going on? And he just starts recording. He's like, what's happening? I'm like, rattlesnake. And I'm just running as fast as I can. He probably thought I was getting chased by it, but it was literally just sitting there. So we stopped for a second, and he of course, he had to see it, right? And so at this point, I'm like, okay, give me a second. I bust out my camcorder because it's got really, really good zoom, like a 30 times optical zoom. And I zoomed in on it. I'm like, there, you can see its tail. And afterwards, I actually checked the drone footage, and I noticed that when I first went in, the snake wasn't there. On the second time I came back around with the drone to film the same spot, you can see it in the footage like hanging down.
Oh no.
Right? Which is, yeah. So obviously at some point when I did that sweep with the drone, it came through. So it was, at some point, I don't know, awake, threatening possibly. So then afterwards, we end up, there's a door. It was wide open. And the door leads into the entrance of the missile silo. And we start going down the stairs. Jazz was ahead of me. When all of a sudden he starts screaming bloody murder. Ah! And we turned around. I'm like, what's going on? He's like, snake. Yeah. Apparently the snake was flying up the stairs towards us.
Oh,
and
God.
he's like, nah, we're done. We're not doing this. We ain't going in there. And then we're now coming back up the driveway, very long driveway. And all of a sudden, he starts screaming again, and we're both running because he heard a snake come up from the grass and just start going like this with its tail, which means you're getting too close, and they'll probably, retaliate if you get a little too close, which is not good. And then we keep running. I heard something moving in the grass. I'm like, whatever, man, just keep running, go all the way to the gate, jump quickly over the gate, and let's get the hell out of here. It's
no, I can imagine just the sound of a rattlesnake, just the sound, nightmare fuel. Absolutely not. It would haunt me.
Yeah,
there's no way.
I saw another one recently when I was in Arizona, but it was just crossing the road. So we were just driving up the road, leaving the area, and it was just like, oh look, a rattlesnake, and just slowly slithering along, living its best life. Yeah, it's pretty wild.
I think the next scariest animal creature after a snake for me would be like a crocodile, alligator. I can't tell. Which one isn't one of them kind of harmless and one of them is absolutely not
I'm
harmless?
not sure who told you that, but they're both.
I think they're both pretty.
Yeah, they're both deadly as all hell. I've seen alligators. I've never seen a crocodile, but I've seen two or three alligators in the same day. Actually, when I was in Florida, we went specifically for the reason of trying to find them, and we found the behemoth of all alligators. This thing was like 9-10 feet long.
Oh no.
And afterwards we realized, when everybody watched the video, saw the pictures, they're like, yeah, you're definitely way too close. Like, you should not be that close. And
they move very fast too.
Oh dude, they're lightning. And that's the misconception, because a lot of people will tell you, if you're getting chased by an alligator, run in a zigzag motion. Don't do it. Don't do that.
You run in. Down.
Yeah. I don't know who's trying to get people killed out here and telling people to run in a zigzag motion, but you're not supposed to do that. That's actually the worst thing you can possibly do. But from the actual experts, I've been told, run in a straight line as fast as you possibly can. And then if you do get caught, because they're much faster than we are, if they catch your foot in their mouth or something, there's a certain spot that you're supposed to like hit them in the face in to kind of get them
between the eyes or something. Or is that sharks maybe?
It might be the same thing. I don't remember specifically, but there's a very specific spot that you can just like kick them in the face and they'll hopefully release. But yeah, they're alligators and crocodiles are both pretty evil.
I guess I'm gonna have to research what spot that is before I ever go to Florida.
Right. So yeah, if you go to Florida, just I guess unless you're want to see them, maybe don't go to the Everglades, but they're pretty much everywhere around there, around water anyway. So then you have crocodiles that are salt water, but Florida does have some, like around the Keys. You will find some crocs, but